effect across the country, with women now coming to Colorado for abortions.
This is why Colorado must remain a place where abortion remains accessible.
Colorado doctors are ready to help more women come here to get the help they need.
Patients count on us to help them in their worst moments.
There's more heat on the way for Friday, but also the potential for heavy rain. Some flash flood watches are in effect.
Temperatures are in the 90s, and it's getting harder to cool off in Colorado lakes.
We don't want to get sick. You can't ingest the water. I mean, I don't want to get sick from lakes.
What you need to know so you and your pets don't get sick.
We want people to enjoy recreation here, but also go home safe.
Well, Colorado has protected the right to have an abortion, and women in neighboring states now are coming here for this life-saving care.
As Denver 7's Micah Smith reports, Colorado abortion providers are trying to help out-of-state patients who need emergency procedures.
4.5 months into her pregnancy, a Texas woman named Anna's water broke.
The doctors recommended terminating her pregnancy to protect her life, but it wasn't allowed in Texas.
While advocating for a bill that would protect women from legal action if they travel to get an abortion, Colorado Senator John Hickenlooper explained Anna took a commercial flight to Denver to have a life-saving abortion.
Her doctor had her make a plan for this travel. Make a plan in case she went into labor on the flight. The plan was to sit near the bathroom.
Abortion doctors throughout Colorado are seeing a lot of Annas.
We're seeing a big influx from out of state, primarily Texas and Oklahoma.
Abortion provider Dr. Kelly Peters with Boulder Valley Women's Health Center says even during medical emergencies, quite often pregnant women from out of state have had to find their own transportation.
We've had women who take the bus from the airport. We had a woman who stayed overnight in a hotel and took one of the little motorized scooters.
The Biden administration recently said federal law requires hospitals to provide abortion services if a mother's life is at risk, even in states with abortion bans in place. While leaders from those states fight against that, Peter says many doctors in states with abortion bans are confused about what they can and can't do, and mothers experiencing emergencies either wait or go elsewhere for help.
We are really working hard to take care of any patient that we can here in Colorado.
Reproductive health care is vital.
Back in March, while Colorado state lawmakers debated Colorado's abortion law, Dr. Nancy Fong described treating Anna, that patient from Texas.
Knowing the devastating odds of having her baby pass away or having a life-threatening infection herself, she was told her only option was to wait until she became septic or went into labor.
Fong says she performed a life-saving abortion.
Patients count on us to help them in their worst moments.
But Fong and Peter say they're scared for those who can't receive life-saving help. Reporting in Denver, Micah Smith, Denver 7.
And a 10-year-old girl from Ohio has become the focus of the abortion debate because she traveled to Indiana to have an abortion. Investigators say that 10-year-old was raped and impregnated by a 27-year-old man who has since been charged. Ohio has a 6-week ban on abortions and has no exceptions for rape. And now the Indiana doctor who provided the abortion is being investigated for potentially failing to report the rape and the abortion.
We're gathering the information, we're gathering the evidence as we speak, and we're going to fight this to the end, including looking at her licensure. If she failed to report, and in Indiana, it's a crime to intentionally not report.
At least 13 states have ended nearly all abortion services, and the Department of Justice announced a new reproductive rights task force created to identify ways to protect access to reproductive health care.
And the House will vote tomorrow on 2 bills to boost abortion rights. One would protect a woman's right to travel to get an abortion. The other calls for codification of abortion rights into federal law. Now, the House has passed that one before, neither expected to pass the Senate. More than 80 House Democrats now have also sent a letter to President Biden urging him to declare a public health emergency over the Supreme Court ruling overturning Roe v. Wade.
A 14-year-old boy has been found safe in the Rewa Wilderness in Larimer County, nearly a day after he was reported missing. Search teams found the teen 5 miles from the West Branch trailhead. The sheriff's office says he wandered away from his camping group yesterday afternoon, and they say he was tired and dehydrated, otherwise not hurt. It is another toasty Thursday with temperatures in the 90s. You are looking live from our Lookout Mountain camera and over downtown Denver.
And the summer heat is now making it unsafe to cool off in some of our lakes. And we have team coverage for you on this tonight. Let's begin with our chief meteorologist, Mike Nelson. Mike?
I'm covering up some of the worst of the evidence today. It's 100 degrees out on the eastern plains, even as hot as 106 at Ray, 99 in Denver for the high for the second day in a row. Now, as far as current conditions, it's cooled slightly to 94 degrees here and has dropped below 100 out at Ray, courtesy of these clouds, and some scattered high base thunderstorms are producing some gusty winds, but not a whole lot of rain. We will see more rain tomorrow. There are flood advisories in effect for the burn scars to the west of Denver up into the mountains and foothills. As far as right now, just a few gusty storms around the area, off into the northeast plains as well. The headlines heading into the evening, gusty evening storms, hot again tomorrow, but storms. Slightly cooler Saturday, but right back close to 100 by Sunday.
A new lawsuit claims Colorado's efforts to fix its air quality aren't enough. The Center for Biological Diversity is suing the EPA and wants the agency to crack down on Colorado's ozone violations, saying Colorado can do more to limit pollution from oil and gas drilling here in the Denver metro. The suit targets the EPA for not requiring Colorado to account for ozone contributions from smaller sources of pollution. The group says these sources cause health problems and do hurt the environment. Another environmental hazard right now, toxic algae in some area lakes.
All right, Denver 7's Russell Haythorne joins us this afternoon. Russell, blue-green algae already been forced to closure of a lake there in City Park.
Yeah, Shannon, and Duck Lake here in City Park is closed to the public because of those toxic algae blooms. It's all related to the heat, and this heat wave is now forecast to stick around at least through the end of July. For those trying to beat the heat,
Balance and don't fall in.
Marie Turner and her two kids have found a top spot.
It's relaxing and fun. It gets them out on the lake, and then once there, it's like, it calms my mind, and I know they enjoy it too. Once you get used to it, it's pretty easy.
Windsor Lake is a premier attraction in northern Colorado.
It's just fun and to swim in and get a cool off.
I think it's just how close it is to everything here. It's a 5-minute drive, right? You can kind of just come hang out. There's no charge for parking.
This lake, Windsor Lake, and Boardwalk Park in general are our #1 park.
Which is why it's painful for Eric Lucas, the Public Services Director for the town of Windsor, to announce the lake may be closing soon.
3 of the last 4 years, we've ended up with blue-green algae in the lake. It's always present, but when it really takes off in this heat that we're having, that's when it becomes a true hazard.
While there are treatment options like installing fountains, that can be very costly for a lake this size.
There are lots of companies out there that say you can treat the water with things, but they're very expensive. Do we spend thousands and thousands of dollars, or do we hope that we don't get blue-green algae this year or any other year?
At the moment, they've posted signs around the lake.
We've issued a precautionary warning to the users of the lake, but if it comes back positive, we will shut the lake down to use.
And for now, the people continue to come, while most understand what might come next.
It sucked to close again.
It is a bummer when that happens. We don't want to get sick. You can't ingest the water. I mean, I don't want to get sick from lakes.
We want people to enjoy recreation here, but also go home safe. This is the jewel of Windsor in terms of our parks and trail system.
So they've taken samples from Windsor Lake, they've sent those in, and they're awaiting those test results. In terms of exposure to this algae, it can cause all kinds of symptoms, but those include nausea, vomiting, and skin irritation, and this can also be deadly to pets if they consume too much of this water. And we're not just talking about Duck Lake and Windsor Lake, they're also closely monitoring this situation over at Sloan's Lake here in Denver and down at Cherry Creek Reservoir. We're live at City Park this evening. Russell Haythorne, back to you guys.
All right, and we will monitor it as well. Russell, thanks for that. And warm water temperatures has CPW asking people to avoid fishing in parts of the Fraser, Colorado, and Eagle rivers. This map shows where these closures are in the high country. They go into effect tomorrow at noon. CPW says the warm water's depleting the oxygen levels, and that leaves fish vulnerable to disease. And you can always track temperatures and weather forecasts on your streaming device. Just download the free Denver 7 app, or you can get weather 24/7 on thedenverchannel.com.
The attorney for Tina Peters has filed a motion to quash a warrant that was issued for her arrest. This morning, a judge ordered an arrest warrant for the Mesa County clerk for violating conditions of her bond. Peters is banned from traveling out of state after being indicted back in March. He's accused of tampering with election equipment. Well, the judge discovered Peters was out of state when she filed a letter to the Colorado Secretary of State's office that was notarized in Nevada. Well, Peters' attorney says he had not seen the judge's order by the time Peters left the state. He says Peters emailed him and other attorneys about leaving Colorado, and he claims he didn't notice she had those plans, so he didn't have time to notify the court.
Colorado's Supreme Court is accused of misconduct.
The judicial system completely relies on the trust and confidence of the people to survive.
Lawmakers are now trying to figure out ways to bring trust back to the judicial system.
This whole department that has such importance over people's lives.
The Federal Reserve is trying to slow inflation, so get ready for another interest rate hike. And it is almost time for the weirdest, wettest commute to work.